And the Hangout is live.
All right, welcome everybody.
Welcome, everyone. We are in day 3 of the Boot Software Summit, and it has just been rocking. Thank you guys so much for all of the comments and thoughts on Facebook and the chat box and the Facebook group via email. It's been phenomenal, and today was a killer day, Dane. I don't know if you saw the lineup, but it was just ridiculous.
You had Dane Maxwell, Dane Maxwell, Dane Maxwell, and Dane Maxwell?
Nope, definitely not. We had...
Can you read my shirt? Do you see what my shirt says?
DuckTales.
DuckTales, yeah.
Nice. Oh, one thing. So today we had Jason Fried, Tom Kolzer, Paras Chopra from Visual Website Optimizer, Greg Smith, Clay Collins, Evan Pagan, David Hauser, and Dan Martell.
Which one was your favorite?
Oh, that's a really good question.
What did Jason Fried say? Did he give secrets?
I love interviewing Jason. Yeah, the biggest thing, this is one of my favorite parts, is if you guys watch the first part of the interview, and we're going to get, just so you know, if you're listening, we're going to get into John Logar soon. He's going to be joining us in just a wee little bit. But one of my favorite parts from Jason is I asked him, I was like, Jason, you kind of were at the beginning of this whole movement of bootstrap software. You guys were the first people to do it. And what I love about you is you've been so principled the whole time for the past like 15 years, living by these principles. And I was like, Jason, why do you think most people starting businesses today don't get the results they want to or fail? And I loved his response. He said, I think one of the biggest reasons people don't get what they want is because they don't know what they actually want. And so they don't stick to it. And I remember when you and I reflected on what we would have done differently with the foundation. This was after 3 or 4 years of building the foundation, and we were at kind of a low point with it and frustrated with where we were at with things. And so Dan and I reflected for about 3 hours. And the first thing that we both said, head and tails above everything else, was that we wish we would have known what we wanted and stuck with it and never deviated. And so that was one of my highlights from today's talks.
Yeah, it's a good lesson.
It's a very good lesson. That's one that stuck with me.
One of the specific things, for example, with the foundation was that we turned it into a sign up and join whenever you want program. We decided to hire a big team of 10 to 12 because we were torn on, do we make this a once a year program that we invest everything into, or do we have every students join whenever they want? Do we make it a $10 million company or a $2 million or $3 or $4 million? And those were all decisions that were like, well, let's just kind of hang out and see. And it just ripped us apart. Andy and I's relationship suffered. The team started to resent us. Yeah, everything actually went to a very, very painful place because of that lack of clarity with what we wanted.
Totally.
And when the foundation crushed, we knew exactly what we wanted.
And like things are going right now, it's like we're so clear on what it is that we want and what's going with it. And it's just awesome when you have that level of clarity to work from. So lesson 1 for tonight, if you don't know what it is that you want for your business, it's time to get really, really clear and let everything else go.
I kind of like that John hasn't showed up yet because we can talk about more stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I do like John, and when John comes, I'll tell him I like him. But for now, it's really nice. So how many people do we have on, Andy? I wonder if we could field any questions while we wait for John.
Yeah, it says we've got about 20 here, 13 or so in the live stream. We've got, what's that?
That's I think something's playing on your computer.
Right.
So the 13 that are so on, thanks for joining us, guys.
We've got 30 in the chat. And William mentioned Dan Martell dropped some knowledge. Oh yeah, the other thing, Dan Martell outlined the funnel that's converting highest online right now. And we got to talk about how Dan Martell got 50,000 customers for Flowtown in 18 months. Not 50,000 email subscribers, 50,000 customers. It's ridiculous.
What's Flowtown?
Do you remember Flowtown?
No.
2009, 2010. It was like when MailChimp started blowing up. Flowtown was the integration that MailChimp used so that you could get all of your social information from your email subscribers. It would pull it all into your email marketing software.
Oh, damn.
That's what Flowtown was. And he built the whole company. The reason it all took off is he struck a deal. They built the technology for it. They struck an exclusive deal with MailChimp for 3 months. That MailChimp would be the only company that got to use it. And MailChimp was so excited to have it, they promoted it to all of their subscribers as this new feature that you can use with MailChimp because it's such a unique integration. So they got all the traction with that. And then when all the other email marketing companies saw MailChimp was doing it, they wanted it. And then they struck partnerships with all of them after their exclusive was up. And that's how we got 50,000 customers in 18 months.
You sound like you digested his information pretty well.
He was a fun one. He was a good one. And we talked about sales funnels that convert really, really well right now. I think Dan's a phenomenal entrepreneur.
Does anyone in chat have any questions they've asked Andy?
Oh, I wonder if... Strange. I just sent a message to John. We must have had a little miscommunication. So if you're watching this, I see we've got 14 viewers here, and then the other 30 or so. Graham, there we are. Just building an app for my business. I got some private funding for 20K to build a business out for others. Would you say I go build it or put 5K to learning at the foundation? It's to help organic veg box businesses run their back end, so it's a super niche business. Graham?
Can you read it? Can you read what he said again?
I've built an app for my business and just got some private funding of 20 grand to build it out for others. Would you say I go build it or put 5K to learning at the foundation? It's to help organic veg box business run their back end, so it's a super niche business.
Probably not.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't join.
You wouldn't join?
No.
Why not?
No. The foundation is really better if you are starting from scratch, if you're wanting to build an app. He's already got his app idea. He's already going to build it out for people. He already kind of knows what he's doing. It might be nice for him. I mean,
Graham.
It's just kind of a very interesting situation. Like,
my hesitation with you, Graham, if you're interested, if you can message us in the chat, we can chat back and forth a little bit here. The hesitation or the risk that I see with what he's doing is that I don't know if the business will. He built an app for his business and got funding to build it out for others, but it's to help organic veg box businesses run their back end. I just don't know how big of a market there is for that. That would be the hesitation. And I don't know how you're going about validating it all.
Yeah, it might be nice to try the foundation. Like, so if you're wanting to do the $5,000 purchase price for the foundation, and then within probably 10 days, you'll know. And then just let your experience of the program actually make a decision, because there's a lot of mindset content that you could use and probably become more successful and leverage more. There are conversation frameworks you could use to potentially cut your development bill into a fourth of what it is. When you're looking at purchasing the foundation, you got $5 grand to buy our program. Most people make that money back in spades in the money they save on developing their software product. Just that alone, let alone the income and things. So I think that actually, if you're building out, you're talking to customers, you're doing all this, it would probably make sense to try the program and then just get the refund if you find it's not a fit for you.
I think that makes the most sense. In the chat, he says there's 50,000 businesses. The cool thing.
Love the chance to mentor him too.
Farmers, home delivery businesses. Oh, this could be really fun. Graham, yeah, I think the other piece is we spend a lot of time on the marketing and sales aspect. And so I don't know how well your chops are cut in marketing and sales. It sounds like you built this for a business that you have, and then you're wanting to expand it to other things. But especially for a niche product like that, I think there's some really cool things that you could do when you have a market of only 50,000 people overall. I know the program supports those that don't have an idea and haven't started building. Got
No,
it.
my recommendation is to join.
Yeah.
Because you'll decide for yourself. You know, one of the scariest things that I've done, some of the scariest stuff that I've done in my life is to take other people's opinions and then not check something out for myself. So I would check it out for yourself and not even don't even trust my or Andy's opinion. Check it out for yourself. And avoid gushing enthusiasm about what the program could do, because that might get you to not see things clearly either.
Background in web dev, running VegBox business for 10 years. Nice. Yeah, agreed. I think that is a good answer.
Well, so what's up with John? What should we talk about tonight?
Well, he's coming. I had a message on Skype, and then he just shot me an email asking for the link again, and I don't know if these are getting to him or what. So
I'll check my Skype. I'm sorry to keep you guys waiting.
Yeah, it's all good. We can keep doing Q&A here, or Dana and I can go on some random rants, which will be nice and fun. Okay, so Joe says, "What's happening? Great to be here. Haven't listened to any of the interviews yet, but been here for the after parties, which have been mind blowing." Yeah, the after parties have been really fun.
After parties. You know, friggin' Andrew Warner really kind of set the bar for like the after parties, because he actually drank.
It's true.
I'm sitting on the. All right, so Andy, I know you kind of suck at this, but I want to see if you can do it. If you were in the city of Seattle,
mm-hmm.
and you were homeless, and you had no contacts, you had no nothings, not even the proper English to speak. What's the quickest way you would get $1,000 a month in recurring revenue? What would you do?
$1,000 a month in recurring revenue if I was sitting in the city of Seattle?
Yeah, dude, you're homeless.
I'm homeless?
Yeah, you're actually naked, so you have to get some good clothes too. You have an outfit that's decent, but it's not that good. Like, people will kind of question your status based on your outfit. Basically, your situation is really desperate. How would you get $1,000 a month?
Do I have a computer?
No.
No computer.
Well, you have an IBM from 1990.
IBM. Can I go to a library and use their computers?
Yes.
Great. I would go to a library.
Just kidding. The library is burned down from an earthquake. No, actually, I like the idea. Go to the library.
Making this real challenging on me.
Yeah, I want to take away like every obstacle to like, crap, there's like pretty much always a way to be successful. Like, that's what I'm hoping is the outcome of this is. So yeah, what would you do? You go to the library for sure, but you don't have a library card, and they'll think that you're dirty and need to wash your clothes. Never mind.
Well, it's so funny because you say all of these things, and it's like, I would convince somebody to let me use a computer. Like, regardless if I'm at the library or I go to a co-working place or I like somewhere, there's somebody who I can convince to be like, hey, can you give me a couple hours where I can just use the internet at your place or something? It's just a matter of time.
But what if you have really muddy hands and there's no sink to wash?
I can't do this.
All right, so what's the first thing you do once you got a computer? Check your Facebook statuses.
Yeah, I'd make sure that Facebook's still going well and my friends are happy to see me. This is great. This is the process I was going to take John through, of like grilling him down step by step where he would go. So I would pick a computer. I would pick a niche of people. I don't know what niche I would pick. I mean,
your hobbies are you like to go to circuses, and you're also like to walk around malls, and you have a thing for racing little remote-controlled dirt cars.
That's actually true. I do have a thing for racing little remote-controlled dirt cars. Sorry, Ralph's messaging me for John stuff. So, if I were homeless, if I had to make $1,000 a month as quickly as possible, I would simply call somebody up, see if they have enough customers, and start running Facebook ads for people in the simplest form.
So who's How would you do it? How would you get the first dollar?
Yep. I would go either on Yelp to find yoga studios that have like 3.5 star ratings, somewhere in that space. Like the best of the best are probably full. It might be worth calling the best of the best too to see what kind of problems they have. But I would find a list of them on Yelp, find an email. I would blast out a list of emails to people and probably follow up with phone calls that day or the day after. Be like, hey, I shot you an email yesterday. Did you get it? They'll say yes or no.
All right. Would you like to know how much my idea is going to be better?
Yeah, I would like to know how much your ideas are going to be better.
Well, first off, I would never go to Seattle. So I'm going to be in Florida where it's nice and warm. Okay, so what I would probably do is actually I'd piggyback on your idea. And I would go to Yelp and I'd convince someone to let me borrow their computer for 10% of my business that I start from it. I'd wash the mud off my hands. Then I'd actually, after I got the commitment and consistency from the Psychology of Influence book, you guys all know the Psychology of Influence, there's 7 psychological triggers. Once I got their computer, then I'd ask to borrow their phone. Then I'd start, calling. I actually look up yoga studios in Florida, and I'd find the yoga studios with the 2 or 3 star reviews, and I would sell them instant reputation, a 30-day reputation boost, for a set price, and then like I would just follow up with every single student manually via email, sending out. Okay, so every you have 30 students that go through your yoga classes, I would send emails to them all individually or one-on-one or in group, and I would send it out asking them to review, and then 30 days later we'd see 200 yoga students came in. You got 30 reviews, a bunch of them are 5 stars. These were 2 stars. We didn't submit those, and we just boosted your reputation. And then once I got that working for the first month or 2, I'd go to 10 yoga studios. And then once that whole process is working manually, then I'd hire a developer, probably in a Pakistan or India, because it's not a very sophisticated piece of software to do that kind of task. Mm-hmm. You're not building a mission critical piece of software, but it's a high value piece of software. So it'd be really simply written and it helped boost reputation. And then I would end up charging $99 a month, $200 a month, based on how many potential ratings or reviews you get every month, and then boost your reputation. And that happens to be, I think, one of the better customer acquisition sources. And I totally kind of just stole that idea from your genius, Andy. So thanks.
You know what's so funny? We talk about this stuff all the time, and I just start seeing it more and more. I've been looking for a ring for Libby, and I are going to get married in a year sometime. And so I have to get a ring. And so I've started looking at them, and we go to jewelry stores, and it's hilarious to me because, I talk with the jewelry store that I got Libby's ring from. I sat down with the owner and we drank some scotch together, and he told me how all the internet, how the world's so different. We're losing all of these money to internet stores, and it's bullshit because they don't have the overhead that all these local stores do, and just went on this rant about how frustrating it is. And yet every store that I've been into, I can show you exactly what happens. You go into the store, you try some rings on, they tell you which ones, okay, you like this one, don't like this one. They write down the things that you like, and they put them on the back of their business card. And they're like, okay, here you go. Thanks for stopping in. And you walk out with their business card and you never follow up again. It's ridiculous. Every time they do that, they lose money. I'm like, I have no idea about buying rings for Libby. And I go into these stores and they tell me a little bit. We try some stuff on. There's no education. There's no follow-up. There's nothing. And those are big purchases.
Why do you think that is? I think I know what it is. Is it a profitable industry so they can be lazy and still make money?
Not anymore. I mean, maybe. This jewelry store has been around for 20 years. I think these stores that they've been around and they build off of reputation for such a long time, they can do that, but they're also dependent on that. And that seems slightly scary to me.
I helped one of my buddies get a a wedding ring once, and it was really, really comical to watch the diamond clerk try to sell him. And so I actually just started coaching the woman on how to sell the guy. And then he ended up buying a ring. He wouldn't have bought if I didn't coach the lady on what to say.
The places I went, they were good. They were good at selling. Like the owner of the store, who's been doing this for 20 years, he was really good.
That sounds fun.
It was fun. So,
did he give you a drink? Did they give you a drink? Any drinks?
Oh yeah, we drink scotch together.
That's a psychological trigger, everyone. One of the 7 triggers in psychology of influence. The second time I mentioned the book that I read freaking 10 years ago. And what's that one? The law of reciprocity.
Reciprocity, kind of liking. So you've got social proof, authority, reciprocity, liking, commitment and consistency, and scarcity.
Oh God. Did you buy a ring?
From them?
Yeah.
I bought the diamond online, and then I bought the ring from them.
Wow.
But it's funny because
you know what?
Actually, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just thinking how hard I used to think it was to make money. Like I was just, gosh, it seems like such a mystery, like pulling teeth. Like I'm so poor. Why are all these people are so rich, and why am I so poor? And how does this work? And then I learned like the psychology of influence, and I learned copywriting. And you'd buy these courses, and the people that would sell you the courses on copywriting, they would tell you, look, I'm going to teach you stuff that's so potent and powerful, you cannot use it to manipulate people. You cannot use it for evil. You must use it for good. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. These guys are just trying to sell me. And then I bought it, and I started going through the courses like, crap, I could get anyone to buy just about anything if I did these triggers right. You might be able to sell ice to an Eskimo in Alaska if you know how to do this stuff correctly. Like, that's how scary powerful this is, because of the basic wirings of the brain. You just hit the right triggers, and you could do it to me, and I'd start buying something, and I would be, gosh, dang it. The wiring in my brain is just taking over. Now I'm just giving you my money, and why do I like this person so much? I don't really need this, but I sure like buying it.
Yep.
That's when it starts to get really fun. Like you paint these pictures, and so, man, I'd love to. Maybe you could share your screen, Andy, and we could make fun of software company websites and talk about why their sales copy's bad or something. We could like critique people's websites. Or
totally. I've got one I want to share off the top of my head. It's our friend. Do you remember Ben Altman?
Yeah. Share the screen so we can rip it apart together.
Yeah.
So guys,
go ahead.
So just until John shows up, we have 37 minutes. We'll kind of show you guys how we think about copy, how you can lay out a website to make money, how you can do it in a relaxed way, etc. And if any of you guys have a website you want us to critique, just send it over.
Okay. Can you see my site?
Yeah. I see charismaoncommand.com.
Great. So these are our friends. I'm not actually. I've been talking to them recently, and they're just such awesome humans. Killer content creators. Not as good at business and conversion. Oh, we got some questions, and you can see this here. They have 600,000 subscribers on YouTube.
I love that. Turn it on whenever you need it. Want to know the 4 emotions that guarantee a killer first impression? Click here. Hey John, what do you think of this this website, Charisma on Command? What would you do to change it?
I can't see it, man.
Click on Andy's screen.
Welcome, brother.
Okay. How you doing, Andy?
Good. Sorry about the mix-up or confusion.
That's right, man.
What would you change here, John?
So to give you a little bit of background, John, as we jump into this, we decided we're going to break down a couple websites and give some tips on how we would change them and what we would be doing differently. So, John, can you see Charisma on Command now?
I can see it perfectly, and I guess the thing that comes to mind is people don't use the word charisma. as a vernacular. They use attraction, or they use magnetism, or how to be magnetic. But people don't really. If I was in the market to try and gain instant rapport, charisma is not a word that I would use. Charisma is a trait. Being charismatic is part of character. So, do you want to switch on? You want to be a magnet. You want to be an attraction, or create immediate attraction rather than create charisma on command.
Mm-hmm.
That's where my head's going to. I get what they're trying to say here, but I'd be thinking about the words that the market would use, and it's not a common word that people would use.
Mm-hmm.
They want to run around and say, "Hey, I want to have lots of charisma."
Totally.
If they don't believe if they don't believe they've got charisma, then charisma is going to be a hard word for them to connect to.
Beautiful.
So the thing that I'd be looking for is the whole purpose of this is to create attraction.
Mm-hmm.
So how to ignite, how to create a magnetic personality in an instant, or how to. It's drawing people to you. So the whole idea is how to become attractive.
Totally.
How to become attractive to everyone.
I love that was the first thing that you caught. They used to, the company used to be called the Kick-Ass Academy. And it was a lot around like dating and attraction, and they rebranded this and they started doing like executive coaching for people who need to feel that confidence when they're on stage or in public or whatever it is. But I love the catch of charisma versus confidence or attraction or something else.
Well, you're trying to make yourself look attractive. You're trying to make yourself, you want to grab people's attention. You want people to view you, to be drawn to you. So that's about, creating a magnetic connection or desire. But then I'm thinking of the words that other people would use. If I was the vernacular, if I was the general person who would be looking for something like this, what am I looking for? How to become, how to make an audience, how to be immediately attractive to your audience,
Totally.
Yeah. Is where
so what else
it goes.
From a design copy standpoint, what do you guys see here? What's missing? What would you add?
I think the question is, do you want to know, or rather than say, here's 4 emotions that guarantee killer first impressions, rather than asking the question, stating here it is, in the positive. Grab the 4 emotions, rather than say, do you want to know them? The obvious answer is obviously you're psychologically trying to get somebody to say yes. Yeah. But why not say, here's the 4 emotions that guarantee killer first impressions.
Totally.
Get them here rather than want to.
Andy, do you know the conversion rate on this page by chance?
I don't off the top of my head.
I was hoping you were going to say something crazy like 70%. I mean, it's pretty hilarious that they like, looks like they took a photo just for this page. They're pointing at the button is obvious, so that's got to help a lot.
John, I muted you, your background, just so you know. So if you want to chat, go ahead and unmute that. It was just some music in the background.
I'm back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
It's nice and clean. So, yeah. Above the hole, the one action is click the button, get this thing.
Great.
Yeah.
I'm surprised there isn't more social proof.
Yeah.
Like no testimonials. They have countless. If you check on their YouTube videos, they have a bunch of videos that have over 1 million views. Charlie, 250,000 views, 400,000, 400,000, 1.3.
Yeah.
Great.
When people come to this page, they've obviously come from some source, so either it's Facebook or, so the context of where they're coming from. If I was coming cold to this website looking for, how to be more attractive or how to be more charismatic, then I can see the use of the word. But, we don't know whether, if I could see the ad that drives them to the page, like Dane says, I'd love to know what the conversion rate to the page is.
Yeah, I love it. A lot of I don't know exactly all of it, but I know a lot of their traffic comes from YouTube. And it would make sense if you're watching their video traffic. Like they do these videos. So here, like Conor McGregor, like how to be confident without being arrogant. And they'll break these down in a really fascinating way. But if you're coming from a video platform, I think it would make sense to have video on here as well.
Yep.
Great.
Yeah. Nice, clean.
So John,
Yep.
So John, can you teach us how to get rich?
You know, it's really funny that you're asking me questions. As I just came out of doing a mastermind in New York City, and we were talking about the process of, I guess, hitting the mark with a market. You know, if you're starting from scratch, it really boils down to knowing, you know, who your customer is and what they're buying. So clarity is a real key. You know, what is it that you're selling? Who gets the greatest benefit out of what you're selling is probably the questions that you really want to be asking. So if you're in a position where you've got nothing, then my thing would be, well, who's got something that's selling, you know, that's saleable, that's in demand? That's what I'd be looking to. So, you know, I guess I've gone beyond the idea of, you know, how to get rich, because to me it's like, well, what does that mean? Because that's going to be different to everybody else. You know, to answer your question, for me is find out what people want and give it to them. But I'd be finding things that people already buy and then selling that to people. So a perfect example of that is if I was getting in the digital marketing space, and this realm is a really big space. I just 3 weeks ago, I just came off the back of we did a 1 hour pitch where we sold a productized service to 30 people and made $1.3 million in revenue in 1 hour. That was $180,000 deposits with $129,000 a monthly recurring revenue. Through just giving people exactly what they wanted. So I was identifying a need, a direct need within a market. They said that, you know, this would be really cool if we could put this on steroids, if we could guarantee a certain result, that they'd be willing to invest a certain amount of money to make that a reality. And so we ticked the boxes. If we were able to do this, if we made it easy and we made it a no-brainer, at the end of that, out of 89 people that were in the room, 30 people put their hand up and said, yeah, we want that strategy. And basically it was a Facebook funnel for to generate patients for a health practice. Right? So, and that was $1 million worth of revenue in an hour from start to finish. But if I broke that down, is that the reason that occurred is because of relevance, because of clarity of the message. The product market fit was a perfect fit. It's what the market was in demand. We had social proof. That was really important. So there were elements of saying, look, don't take our word for it. Here are people who are actually applying and getting the results with the strategy. And those people are just like you. So we had the social proof aspect. We had let's make it easy to buy. We had a value stack. So we created a large perception of value. And then, you know, it was a great deal. The offer was an excellent offer. There was time sensitivity. So, you know, you can only buy it here in this room. It's not something we're going to offer outside of this event. There was a quantity sensitivity. We're only going to offer this to 37 people. So being one of the 37, there was exclusivity involved. So we can actually target the strategy to your location. So all of those elements played into the hand to maximize the opportunity to generate the conversion from the audience. Right. So literally the pitch took an hour, and it was done in a way that it wasn't like a pitch. That's not hard to explain, but might be a bit difficult to grasp. It was, here's the idea. This is what we've been working on. This is exactly what you've said that you've wanted. We've actually built it. Normally, we've done it at a significant cost, but we're going to make it easy for you to buy. If we can make it easy for you to buy, you've got the opportunity to take advantage of this now. The next time we make this offer, the price is going to significantly be higher based on the perception of value that we're delivering. So there was all those elements that created that conversion, if that makes sense.
Two questions for me before you hop in. What's the example funnel? So who do you target on Facebook? What's the hook? What's the call to action? What's the exact, like, what's just the high level? You're targeting women, you're targeting this interest, you're saying what sort of headline on the ad, like,
John,
you're muted, by the way.
I muted you again.
Tell me about how the money actually gets made. by the business who buys your thing?
I can
If you
give
can.
I can give you yeah, I can give you a little bit of context on that, but it's for Carl's company, for Breakthrough PT Marketing, where they're doing done for you Facebook marketing for the businesses and charging, I think, $5,000 up front, $3,500 a month. Is that about right, John? Yeah. And John, you can just unmute yourself whenever. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, we structured a presentation that gave a direct result, a desired result that the market wanted. We wanted more patients, so they built a funnel that attracted more patients consistently. They wanted a certain number of patients, so they attracted a funnel to guarantee a certain number. The market said, this is what we want, it's working. We've got a number of examples of where that's been demonstrated. Do you want in on this? Is basically the basis of the pitch. So the desire is that they don't physically have to go and do the work to generate the patients. Rather than relying on referrals, traditional referrals are drying up. Medical practices are taking over and starting to offer complementary services or competing services. So their opportunities are drying up in the market. So there's the gap. So if we can solve that problem and speed that process up and make it easy for you to buy, that was the structure of the pitch.
So John, this sounds like a pretty incredible opportunity and deal. Did this deal happen because you joined the foundation? Wink, wink.
Look, I'm glad you asked that, Dane, because one of the things, I know you've invited me on this call, but one of the things that I've always said to people about the foundation is that, to me, the name is apt. The foundation gives the structure and the fundamental processes behind effectively understanding a market, making sure that you've got a communication strategy. Probably the best copywriting course that is a collective of ideas of copywriting that there's ever been put together by you, Dane. The pre-sell concept, selling something or validating something that is, this is a concept that's not new, but to understand the mechanics of it, there's no other program that talks about that type of structure. So if I was getting into business, the ideas that are in the foundation really are a catapult to applying those strategies to any business, not just building a software business. I mean, the foundation enabled me to get my head around being able to develop software, to be able to develop product in the market, because I'm not a coder, I'm not a graphic designer. All up in the total 6 months that in my alumni in the foundation, I ended up with about $300,000 revenue that I could directly attribute to the foundation. And that was through, and then what's happened after that, I've sold other products and services based on implementing some of the strategies and ideas and fine-tuning and finessing that concept of creating something that somebody wants, actually enabling, getting them to pay for it up front before you go and spend a dime, and then being able to leverage that into, well, who else can utilize this service? If I'm solving a problem here, can the rest of the market benefit? It is no different to selling any service, but the artistry of being involved and going through the foundation program is it does give you those structures. I make a joke that the first email that you guys sent me when I joined the program was the email that kind of triggered my thought process to go and, holy crap, I know how to do this already, right? It just showed me, or the dots connected with me. Now, since then, I've still delved into the materials, the amount of resources that are in the program, the case studies, the examples. There are literally hundreds of people that have become entrepreneurial because of the mindset structures in the program. So in terms of, if I was answering the question, what the foundation gave me, the foundation gave me an incredible array of tools, an incredible audience to connect with, some extraordinary people to learn from. And at the same time, if I ever had a question about whether it be a technical thing or a business thing, I had a community that I could go to that understood the same process that I'd been going through to enhance my capabilities of being entrepreneurial. So I was a bit beyond where most people would be, where they're investing in the program. And one thing I will share, and you're probably not aware of this, a couple of years prior to the foundation, this is probably a year before you launched the first group, I sat there and said, I am not going to invest in a program ever again online unless I was going to pull it apart, apply it, and actually generate a result from it. Because like many people that have come across and bought programs, unless you use this stuff, unless you learn and actually go through that learning process of applying and making mistakes, and this is the beauty of how your program or how the foundation program is structured, is that it enables you to get immediate feedback by giving it a shot. There's no other program that actually enables you to do that. So for me, I sat there and said, I'm not going to go and spend. I can't even remember what I invested, but to me, I thought, if I'm going to make an investment in this, I'm going to make it work. And that's why I sat there and said, well, I can hold my hat to my heart to say that I directly made this revenue by implementing the strategies that I invested in this program. And so many others who have gone on to build software programs, and some of my friends that I've met in the foundation who've done extraordinary things. And then there's a whole bunch of other people who've built incredible entrepreneurial empires purely because of the mindset and the foundations that are within the program. So I am not drinking the Kool-Aid. What I have done is I've immersed myself into the learning and the opportunity. And so I could say, hand on heart, the foundation has been extraordinary as an experience. If you wanted to learn business, this is the place to come.
So, John, and then the other thing was what I was kind of teasing about with the foundation having to do with this wink, wink, was how did you get the opportunity to make the $1 million and speak on the stage that you were speaking on? How did that connection happen? You're muted.
That happened because of the friendship and the relationship that I built with Carl and Josh, who are part of the foundation. I mean, the community brought us together and sharing ideas and learning from each other. And 2 years later, literally 2 years later, Carl had asked me to, share some of my skills in sales process and conversion with the sales team at BPTM. And within the first month of just understanding what they did and where they came from and what they were implementing, we were able to double their revenues in 30 days. Then we were able to take it another step where we leveraged that opportunity into $1 million worth of revenue at a live event. So we did product launch formula, but in real time, live. Now that wouldn't have happened. Normally you're selling info products, but we were actually selling a productized service. So how did it occur? It occurred through the connections and the relationship and the understanding and the friendships through the foundation. I cannot say that there is any other community that I've been part of where I've seen that ability to collaborate. With the relationship, Carl and Josh and Chad, their business partner, that's a friendship that's grown out of the introductions through this community and through this program. And I'm humbled and honored by that opportunity. So it's a big part of being part of this family. If the one thing that's really funny, Carl and I joked about this. The question of how badly do you want it? His story is a perfect example of how badly do you want it. His whole business persona, his mindset was that whole thing. It's like, how badly do you really want to create something? How badly do you want to be an entrepreneur? How badly do you want to try your hand at creating and innovating and giving it a shot? And Carl has developed 4 businesses in the time that he's been part of the foundation, and I know several others that have done multiple ventures, including myself. So none of that would have happened if we didn't have the inspiration or the questions or the challenges or the struggles that we all went through in getting this done. So at the end of the day, it's a great platform. There isn't any other platform like it. And let me tell you, I spend a ton of money on investing in my learning and education. And I've been through a lot of other coaching programs, and I still say today that the foundation is one of the best coaching programs and one of the best real-time business development programs on the planet.
Dude, I love it. John,
where am I right now?
Yeah.
I'm sitting in Austin, Texas. I've just flown in from Atlanta, and I've just come into Austin for a few days. I'm actually here to participate in another mastermind for the guys that you know, Beachbody. Yeah. Beachbody is a $1.5 billion infomercial product, basically, and so I'm involved in a mastermind group on that project with one of their key founders.
How long are you in town for?
I'm here till Sunday. There's also an event here, the Freedom Fast Lane, that Ryan Moran is put on as well. So
I'm coming in on Thursday.
oh, cool. Well, let's hang out, man. I'm here.
There's an internet marketing party on Thursday night.
Yep. Yeah, I'm there as well. So yeah, that'll be awesome. It's gonna be huge.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
It's so funny every time we talk, you're in a hotel room and traveling.
That's been my life for 3 years. I haven't been in one place for more than 2 weeks. Literally, I haven't been in one place for more than 2 weeks. And I'm somewhere in the US or in some city. 3 to 5 days is about my average in the city. So, however, this idea of for me, it's part of my lifestyle. I want to do that because it's my ability to go and connect. Dane, how many? We've hung out heaps of times. Every time we had an opportunity where I was visiting San Diego, we'd connect or go and have a bite to eat or something.
And every time that you come, you usually bring a handwritten note with some gift for me.
But yeah, to me, it's about the connection and the friendships, and and I learn from the people that I connect with, from all walks of life. I mean, the number of foundation people that I've spoken to and listened to their stories, and there's some amazing ideas in that community.
I'm checking out. Go
So
ahead.
John, if you can mute your mic, mute his mic again, Andy. John, I have a challenge for you.
Mm-hmm.
And those people that have been listening for this whole hour will get the humor of this. However, this may seem a little shocking to you. Now, are you ready for the challenge? Give me a thumbs up. Are you afraid of the challenge? Give me a thumbs up. All right, so for those of you that don't know, John, I once told John, I called up John and said, John, I need to prove to people that making money is really easy. So I need you to do that for me. And John's like, okay, what do you want me to do? I was like, I need you to call jewelers and sell them something. And he's like, okay. And then I hung up, and then, like, I don't know, a few days later, he's like, hey, Dane, okay, I made like $16,000 or something crazy. I don't want to talk about that, but I wanted people to know that John did it. So, John, I have you another challenge, and this one you don't actually have to do, but here it is. If you were homeless in Seattle and you had some really bad clothes that were from Goodwill that were like, 30 years old and hadn't been washed. So when you talk to people, you've kind of got this aura about you. Like, you're in dire straits. You don't have a phone. You don't have a computer. You don't have any more money. You don't have any of your mastermind connections. You don't have the foundation anymore. But you do have all the skills. What's the fastest way you would make $1,000 a month in Seattle? And whenever you're ready, you can unmute your mic. And the more repeatable your process, by the way, the more repeatable your process, the better, so other people can do it as well.
Okay, I did this the other day, actually, but I wasn't homeless, but it's exactly what I did.
Were you in Seattle?
No, I was in New York, but I could do it in Seattle. I could do it anywhere in the world. So you could put me in the bit of in out of Mongolia, I could still do this.
Okay.
So I with my knowledge and my skills, I know that I can attract business for people. It's something that's one of my superpowers. Is I know how to engage and how to help people to engage with their audiences. So I'm going to give this, and for those of you who are listening to this, you can literally steal this because it can work for you. Okay, so if you have a skill, if you the most basic and fundamental skills is, can you attract customers on the internet? So I have a lot of skills in that area. So there would be, we have these buildings all across the world. They're quite renowned. They're called libraries. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, right? And in those libraries, you generally have access to computers, and it's free, right? So I could, without any money, I know that I can get my hands on a computer. Now I become dangerous. Okay, so once I have my hands on the computer, I need to think, who can I help the most and who needs a bucket load of help, but I also need money cash in advance to be able to do this, because we need some cash. I've got to, I've got to buy a burger and, got to find a room and all that sort of stuff. So now I did this exercise with 22 entrepreneurs in a room in New York City, and the results were extraordinary. So I actually wrote this email. It's really simple. Right. In Facebook, we have the ability to actually identify an audience in Facebook. We can sit there and say, we know who people who've got interest in investment products or a particular service in the market. So I would be sitting there thinking, who needs access to lots of customers and who needs them fast? So I would make an offer. Now, let's say I don't have anybody's email addresses, because right now I don't have a list. So let's throw that out the window. I'm just going to go absolutely blind. And I've only got 1 hour, because the library will only allow me an hour's access on the internet server before they kick me off and I have to go and find another library. That's roughly what occurs. So I've got an hour to do this. So what I'm going to do, and you'll think this is ridiculous, but it works, is I'm going to construct a very simple email. And that email is going to be, and I'm going to find, let's say an audience, let's say I was talking about financial advisors or accountants, or I was picking in that audience. I know they need bucket loads of people to sit down in front of, and I know that they're willing to pay to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a really simple email. And that email is it okay if I show you how I can send you 10,000 customers to look at the opportunity of sitting down with you to help you with their finances? That's the email I would write. And I wouldn't be sending that to a person, because I don't have access to a person, but I could actually go to their contact us page on the website, and I could do, probably in an hour, I could probably send out about 150 emails. And then what I would do is I would give the phone number of a public payphone or a library phone. I would find the phone number of the library and put my number and say, you can contact me here and ask for this name, right? Because I don't have a cell phone. Okay, I've got no telecommunications, but I've got access to a computer and I can access a phone. So we did this exercise totally cold the other day. We only send 7 emails. We sent 7 emails in about 10 minutes, and we got somebody calling us saying, yes, we're interested in those 10,000 opportunities.
So what happens when they say yes? Then what do you do next?
Then I'm going to say, hey, let me show you how we can do this. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions about the type of customers you're trying to attract? This is a very simple system. Normally I would charge tens of thousands of dollars for this service, but because you've come out of the blue, what I'm going to do is show you how to simply put this structure into place, and it's going to cost you, anywhere up to a couple of $1,000s. Now, if I can generate some clients for you, that's awesome. If I don't generate any clients for you, opportunities for you, I'll give you money back.
And how do you generate the clients for the businesses?
Run direct Facebook ads to perfect audience in their market with a direct call-in ad. So the person actually calls off the Facebook ad, and actually they can actually measure the number of phone calls they get.
Shouldn't this be harder than that?
No. Well, let's do it this way. I know, I'm not a graphic designer. I'll give you the same strategy, different service, okay? I'm not a graphic designer. I'm not a web developer. If you said, John, go and build this website from scratch, I would have no idea unless I had tools like WordPress and stuff like that, and I could play around and I had time, right? Put a gun to my head. Can you get me a website? So I know I can buy a website. I don't have to make the website. I can get somebody else to make it, right? So I can find a service like monster.com. They'll actually build an entire site with images and all that sort of stuff for about $700. I can literally on the email say, hey, if we could redo your site on a great deal for a few grand and actually make it mobile optimized, let's save you $5,000 towards building your website. So if you need to redo your site and you need people to find you using mobile devices, we can build a website and save you $5,000 in building that site. Just reply yes to the email. So now I can go to monster.com, buy a website for $69 that will be fully fledged. I can go use monster.com's developers for $400 to actually tweak and custom that site in accordance to the customer's desire on how that site should look. So for $700 cost to me, I could probably sell that site for anywhere between $3,000 to $5,000 easily. And it'll look dynamic and fantastic. So I could just send an email and say, hey, we know how to get great conversion on websites. We can make your website be seen and found on every mobile device. If it's time to redo your site, just reply yes, we can help you out.
So John,
Yep.
realistically,
Yep.
how much time and hours
Yeah.
does someone need to invest in both knowledge and practice to attain the level of mastery that you have?
If I tell you what to do, it would take an hour. But if you had to learn the skills and understand, it would probably take you. You could probably do it in 2 to 3 weeks. Because then I would step you out through the process. The idea, the important part of that process is to give context. You know, if you can frame the context, and it's easy for people to grasp. And this is the beautiful thing about the foundation: it frames the context beautifully at every step of the process. So for me, it's important that if you have a frame of reference, that you can actually say, okay, I get why and get how that would work. You don't need to be the expert. You know, I can find, I can find the best developers. I can find the best graphic designers. I can find the best conversion specialists. All I've got to do is, there's this amazing website hidden from the world called The Google, yeah? And when you type in Google, you can find anything. So I can find white label service delivery. All I've got to do is, does anybody need that, and be the intermediary? And I can put a value proposition on that.
I've got a question for you from Crack Coden here in the chat. He says, I'm loving this, but I can't help to feel that marking up an online web builder feels like a sleazy practice to me.
Okay, I love how you say that. I love that question, because it's a really good question. So here's the thing. So if I put this to, let's say we were choosing a plumbing service, a plumber, regular trade service, right? And let's say they sell hot water installations, so hot water for homes, right? The average installation, now I'm giving you frame of reference because I know the story, okay? So the average price of one of those hot water services is about $3,000 to install. This is a brand new one, fresh, right? So it's $3,000. The plumber will probably make about $700 to $800 in gross profit, and probably keep about $250 to $300 in his back pocket. So every customer, the gross value is worth $3,000. Now, if I went to a plumber and just asked a really simple question, because we're on the internet right now, and 70% of search happens on one of these devices, right? If you want to look that up, go to Google Think. It'll give you all the stats as to how people behave online, right? So if I know that and I go to a plumber, my question to him was, knowing that people are searching for you online, or knowing people that are coming to your website, how much of your business right now is that you can attribute that your website brings into your business? Worst case scenario, what percentage of business would come from the website? Any business in the market, the worst case scenario would be 10% of their business. That's what they would come up. Some people would say 20, 30, 40%. So let's say, for the sake of our plumber example, they're a $2 million business, right? And they think they get 10% of their revenue from their website. So they're saying, I'm getting $200,000 from my website right now without doing any extra work, right? So what's that website worth to them? That website is actually, over the next 5 years, that website's going to be worth $1 million worth of revenue to him, if nothing changes and things stay the way they are. That's $1 million worth of revenue. What's it worth to buy a site that's going to bring you $1 million? It doesn't matter if it costs you $1,500 or $500 to build the site. The key part of that is it going to convert customers, and what is a customer worth to that business? And I'm not going to build a standalone website, because to me, I see the value in the client as well. I'd be looking at saying, look, at the end of the day, just putting a static website up isn't going to help you. Right? At the end of the day, this question is great, because the more we hang out in our circles in the internet, when we've got affinity and we've had experience of relating to where we can get access to information, the market doesn't know that. They're willing to pay a high price for that service, for those skills, because they know that ultimately that those skills and those services are valuable to them. So if I can articulate the value, then who cares how much it costs me to build the site? If the site's going to make the guy $1 million and I charge him $50,000, it's good value for money. Now, if it costs me $5,000 to build the site, it's still great value for money, as long as it's making $1 million. It doesn't matter what I pay.
I love your answer to this, John. And for those of you listening, I think what it speaks to from a psychological and mindset standpoint is that John has made the transition to, he looks at things in terms of value. And if you're asking the question about what does it cost, you're probably thinking about how much time does it take you to get something up and running. And if you're looking at it through the lens of time, that's generally like the employee typical mindset. And if you're looking at it through the lens of value, you're looking at how much value can you actually create for somebody, and then time and your energy that goes into it goes out the window.
Yeah. Another point to iterate what you've just said as well is that no website, even a $500 website, still ends up costing $3,000 to $5,000, and I'll explain why. If you're buying a crappy website from somebody at an ordinary website at a low price point, there's going to be about 40 hours of back and forth of your own time to get that website right for the client. But you haven't accounted for that value. So if you're charging a client $500, there's still the hours that are invested both on yourself and your client to actually get that site live. So what happens is with your $500 is that your hourly rate, your effective profit or effective hourly rate drops considerably. This is the biggest mistake where people underprice their value that they deliver to the market. There's a classic example of this in the consulting world, in my world. There is a web developer that sells not even WordPress. These are HTML designed sites at the low end for $39,000. A basic website with really poor conversion elements. Their high-end website is $69,000. Now, when you hop on their website, there are about 130 consultancies that have paid a minimum of $39,000 for a website, right? So the perception of value, the reason why the consultants have purchased that website is because of the social proof and because that the perceived elements in that site make those companies professional in terms of branding and in terms of what they're looking for their service. The consultants are not selling digital marketing. The consultants are selling practice management. They're selling change management. They're selling project and systems and strategic planning and all those sorts of things. So they're thinking that we've got to be up here. So in their mind, they're going, how can a $5,000 or $500 website give me the branding that clients at $1 million or that invest $200,000 to $300,000 in my services? They would expect me to have the expensive website. Yeah, go and tell BMW that you can go and build their website for $100,000, and they're going to wonder why they spent $30 million building their website. You know, go and tell Domino's Pizza that sell pizza for $5. Last year, they spent $4 million building an app to sell you pizza for $5, right? $4 million. And they spent another $3.5 million on email marketing to try and get you to come back in and buy more pizza at $5. And the company in the last 5 years has grown by more than 49%. They went from 450 million revenue in selling pizzas to 850 million in the last 5 years, purely by digital marketing, selling you a $5 pizza. Now, if I went to Domino's and said, yeah, I can build you a WordPress website for a couple of grand, they'd laugh me out the door. Yeah. So it's not about, the cost. If you focus on the cost, you're not looking at the value. And of course, everybody wants to push that price down. What you want to do is understand what it's worth to people. If you do that, that's the goal. In selling software, it's the same thing. We have a mutual friend in Nathan Barry with ConvertKit, right? We have a friend. If you ask Nathan how they gain trajectory on their software, on their SaaS to go, 16 months ago, I think the thing was doing like 5 or 10 grand a month. Today it's doing like 500 grand or 600 grand a month. I think he's up to. I spoke to him about 3 weeks ago in Bangkok. So he's up to about like $600,000 in recurring revenue every month on ConvertKit. And he's selling email marketing. He built an email software for bloggers, right? Now, Infusionsoft can do that. Aweber can do that. MailChimp can do that. But because he niched his product to an audience and then showed the value proposition, and then he sat there and said the biggest challenge that they had was the cost of integration. So they said, well, if you buy our software, if you buy our subscription, we'll integrate it for you. We'll do the integration for free. That was the proposition. But here's the killer. They didn't sell their ConvertKit through Facebook advertising. They actually sold it direct. They telemarketed ConvertKit to bloggers. They email marketed cold, and they followed up with a phone to say, hey, can I show you how this thing works for bloggers just like you? How we make your life easy. $500,000 a month later. Who would have thought that old school sales practice is selling a $49 a month SaaS up to, based on your volume, right? Based on sending a cold email and then picking up the phone and say, hey, can I help you out? Show you how this thing works for you? Mm-hmm. That's the power of leverage through software. Yeah.
Yep. And I think it's the power of learning those core principles of business that have worked since the beginning of time and will continue to work regardless of what industry you go into.
Absolutely.
Andy, you sound like you have the voice of God. I bet I sound like I do now.
I do.
It's because
You don't.
your headphones are echoing through John's mic, so when you talk, it sounds cool.
It's all that meditation.
So John, as we're ending on the hour, I just want to say, in the most serious tone ever, you sound like you really know what you're talking about. Is it possible for you to mentor students in the foundation?
I've already done that in the foundation. I've been part of the alumni community phone calls on several occasions, and I still intend to be there with you guys. So yeah, I will be speaking in the community for those that decide to be part of the foundation. So yeah, absolutely. It's my opportunity to meet some pretty amazing people. I learn as much by listening to you guys and the members that join. There are some extraordinary stories of how people got there and the process they're going through and the challenges that they're facing. And to me, yeah, absolutely. So yes, people will see me in the foundation.
Thank you, John.
John, I love it, man. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. If people want to get in touch with you or reach out to you and learn more,
Just go to consultingunleashed.com.
Consultingunleashed.com. Sounds great, man. I will be seeing you in 2 days.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, guys. It's been great hanging out. Are you back in San Diego, Dane?
No, I am in Florida.
You're in Florida.
And in
Are you
Nashville.
gonna be there next month?
I will not.
Okay, I'll catch you somewhere.
So no books and no cards yet for me to get again.
No.
I miss you, John. It's good to see you.
I love you guys.
All the best. I look forward